Are you looking for tips and advice on the best ways to improve your level of English? Our team of English teaching experts are here to help you. In this section, we share advice, ideas, and tips on how you can make the most of the time you spend learning English. How can you improve your speaking? How can you get better at writing? What should you read in English? What can you listen to help improve your understanding of spoken English? All these questions and more are answered in the articles that are written especially for you by the Learn English team. We publish new tips and advice regularly, so come back soon to see what's new. Quotes to inspire you in your English learning. Read these wise words to give your English learning a boost. Learning English can be a long journey, so here are some inspirational quotes to help you along the way. The more you speak more languages, the more you understand about yourself. Every word is a bird we teach to sing. If you're going to learn a new language, you can't try to be perfect. You'll stop yourself from talking. You just have to let go. Learning another language is not only learning different words for the same things, but learning another way to think about things. There are so many things that motivate me to continue learning. One is my own desire to learn new things and really expand my horizon and my knowledge and information about the world. There is no such thing as an ugly accent, like there's no such thing as an ugly flower. I am more confident with my English now. I had to do a short interview with, I think, Reuters from France. I was so nervous. I practiced memorizing 3 sentences for 2 hours. But I think that these kinds of interviews make me develop a lot, and that helps me. I like learning. English is the most spoken language in the world, and it just gives you a chance to communicate with so many people from other cultures. And I'm not speaking just about the English, but worldwide. Vincent Kompany, football player and manager. You are as many people as the languages you speak. Discussion. Which quote did you like most, and why? Do you know any other quotes or sayings about language learning? 5 ways to work out the meaning of new words. When you see or hear a new word, what can you do? Here are 5 ways you can guess its meaning. When you read and listen in English, you'll see and hear new words. It could be frustrating if you stop what you're doing all the time to check them in a dictionary or translate them. Instead, try to guess their meaning. Here are 5 ways to do it. 1. Use your general knowledge. What would be usual in this situation? Imagine that you're taking a bus or train and the driver says, "This is the last stop. All passengers, please alight here." If you don't know what alight means, you can guess that it means get off, since that's the normal thing to do at the last stop. 2. Break the word into parts. Let's say you don't know the word deemed here. The film was not deemed appropriate for young children. Deemed ends in ed, so it seems to be a past verb form. It also comes after was, which suggests it's a past participle inside a passive structure. So, we know that deemed is some kind of effect or result happening to the film. Look for prefixes too. For example, if somebody says this while you're speaking, "Sorry, can I just interject?" We can guess interject means to speak while someone else is speaking or to interrupt because it has the prefix inter, meaning between or in the middle. e.g., international, internet. 3. Check the surrounding vocabulary. The words before and after an unknown word sometimes give clues to its meaning. For example, in the film was not deemed appropriate. You may already know that appropriate means suitable or right, which is a kind of opinion or judgment. We can therefore guess that deemed means something like considered or judged. Here's a more complicated example. Passing my driving test was a huge achievement. Doing it on my first try was just the icing on the cake. Let's say we don't know what icing is, but by looking at the surrounding words, we see that it's related to cake. We can also guess there is an idiomatic, that is, non-literal, meaning here, because cake doesn't mean anything obvious in this situation. So, the question is not just, what does icing mean, but what does the icing on the cake mean? To answer this, from general knowledge we know that passing a test is good, and that passing on the first try is even better. So, we can guess that the icing on the cake means something like, something was already good, passing the test, cake, and it became even better, passing on the first try, icing. Check the surrounding link words. Link words such as because and whereas give us clues because they connect one idea with another. For example, suppose you don't know the meaning of touch and go here. It was touch and go for a while whether they would lose their jobs. The conjunction whether suggests that the two results, losing or keeping their jobs, were both possible, so we can guess that touch and go has something to do with an uncertain result. Check whether the meaning is explained. Sometimes people explain words or repeat them in other terms. In Japan, I tried matcha, which is a type of green tea. She's a real live wire. She just can't sit still. Look out for phrases such as, which is, what I mean is, or in other words, which show that the speaker or writer is re-explaining something. Next time you see or hear a new word, guess its meaning. Use all the methods above and don't rely on just one. Discussion. When you see or hear a new word, what do you usually do? Do you check it in a dictionary, translate it, try to guess what it means, or do something else? How to get your English to C1 level. Are you aiming for C1 level English? This article explains what skills to focus on and how to practice. C1 is the fifth of 6 levels in the Common European Framework of Reference for Languages, CEFR. C1 indicates a proficient user. Below, we break down the skills of a C1 level user of English, as described by the CEFR. We also share our advice to help you on your way to achieving your learning goal. 1. Understand a wide range of demanding longer texts and recognize implicit meaning. It's a good idea to search online and offline to find suitably challenging reading and listening texts, such as novels, professional articles, podcasts, films, and lectures. And search widely. Go out of your comfort zone and don't always stick to your favorite texts and topics. Recognizing implicit meaning means understanding what writers and speakers intend to communicate, even when it's not expressed literally. For example, I went to Brighton for the weekend, but there was nothing to do. This speaker probably doesn't mean that there were no activities at all, but that there were no interesting or attractive activities. Another example: A. Did Amina get the job? B. I'd better not say. Although it's unsaid, we understand that B does know whether Amina got the job or not, but feels that it is not right or appropriate to tell A. The best way to pick up on implicit meanings like these is by encountering similar ones, so choose rich and meaningful texts such as novels and podcasts to read and listen to. 2. Express yourself fluently and spontaneously, without much obvious searching for expressions. This skill is about putting your thoughts and feelings into words. Talk with other people and speak your mind. You could also try expressing yourself by blogging, making videos, or keeping a diary. In conversations, do you speak spontaneously or spend a long time composing your sentences? Fluency is related to the word flow, but too much thinking disrupts your flow. Instead, just speak, even if the words or grammar aren't perfect, so that you can participate and interact more. More practice will help your speaking to become more automatic. Try to use English for your inner voice too. Switching to thinking in English isn't easy, but you can develop this ability by starting small. Talk to yourself in English while you are planning your day or going shopping, for example, and add more activities when you can. It's always good to build up your vocabulary, especially for conversation. Observe how other proficient speakers express themselves, and pick up useful words and phrases from them. Noticing new words and phrases, noting them down, and then trying to use them in context is a great way to learn. 3. Use language flexibly and effectively for social, academic, and professional purposes. Using language flexibly means being able to adapt to different situations. So, vary your speaking practice by speaking with different people for different purposes and expressing different ideas. It's also good to use English for a wide range of purposes in your life, such as for entertainment, work, study, or hobbies. Let's say you want to learn a new skill. Why not choose an online course taught in English? That will allow you to learn the skill and practice English at the same time. You can also look for opportunities to use English in your studies or workplace. 4th, produce clear, well-structured, detailed text on complex subjects, showing controlled use of organizational patterns, connectors, and cohesive devices. This is about taking your writing skills to an advanced level. Practice expressing complicated ideas. Look for good examples by other writers. See how they organize their text and take ideas from them. To develop your writing fluency, write a lot and write often. Ideally, try to write for a real-world purpose, not simply to practice English. Writing a report for your job, for example, is likely to involve much more complex and realistic information than writing a report for an IELTS exam or English lesson. You should also seek feedback on your writing. Ask friends or colleagues to read it and gather their opinions. This will help you to understand the strengths and weaknesses of your own writing, and to check whether what you intended to communicate actually comes across. Good luck on your journey to C1. Discussion. Which tip do you think is most useful, and why? How to get your English to B2 level. Do you want to get to B2 level? Read on to find out what skills you need to develop to reach your goal. B2 is the fourth of 6 levels in the Common European Framework of Reference for Languages, CEFR. B2 level means that you are an independent user of English. Below, we break down the skills of a B2 level user of English, as described by the Common European Framework of Reference, together with our tips for learning. 1. Understand the main ideas of complex text on both concrete and abstract topics, including technical discussions in his/her field of specialization. Reading and listening are essential to help you to reach B2 level. You should read and listen to English regularly, including texts that are long, detailed, and challenging. Go for texts that are authentic, that is, books, articles, podcasts, videos, and other texts from the real world, rather than ones made for English learning, as these will expose you to a wide range of realistic language and usage. If you have a specialist area in your work, studies, or interests, find English language texts connected to it. If you work in business, for example, choose articles or videos about economic policies, concepts, and news. You'll not only find them professionally interesting and useful, but you'll also pick up technical vocabulary in your field. And while you read and listen, try to identify the main ideas across the whole of the text. It's good to notice small details too, but think about the bigger picture. What does the writer or speaker want to say overall? Is there a central idea that connects all the small details? Is there a repeated idea, or one that's developed throughout the text? Such ideas are probably the most important ones. Second, interact with a degree of fluency and spontaneity that makes regular interaction with native speakers quite possible without strain for either party. Fluency and spontaneity mean that you can express your ideas smoothly and without needing to prepare much, and you can talk comfortably with other people. It's fine to prepare some things to say, but use them flexibly in your conversation, not as a script. Try to avoid saying all your ideas at once and speaking by yourself for a long time. Instead, see how other people respond to what you say. They might want to add something or interject, and build up interaction with them by asking questions or inviting them to join in. It's not easy to interact naturally and comfortably in a second or foreign language, but the more of it you do, the easier it will become. As you gain more experience, some of your ways of talking and expressing yourself will become more automatic. So, take every opportunity to speak in English, whether in or outside class, online or offline. 3. Produce clear, detailed text on a wide range of subjects and explain a viewpoint on a topical issue, giving the advantages and disadvantages of various options. This is about writing and speaking. For B2 level, you should develop your ability to write and speak clearly and knowledgeably on various topics. Look for opportunities to do this in your place of work or study, online or elsewhere. Practice expressing your thoughts and opinions. It's a good idea to read the news so that you're in touch with current events. Try to form your own viewpoint on an issue and think it through by asking yourself, why do I think that? What support is there for my view? Then, practice explaining it. Some good ways to do this are by keeping a blog, journal, or video diary, using social media in English, joining an English discussion group, playing games in English, or having frequent conversations. At the same time, you should consider different views. You don't necessarily have to agree with them, but you should be able to recognize and comment on viewpoints besides your own, or on the different aspects of an issue. All the best on your journey to B2. Discussion. Which tip do you think is most useful, and why? How to get your English to B1 level. Do you know what skills are needed for B1 level English? Find out here and read some helpful tips. B1 is the third of 6 levels in the Common European Framework of Reference for Languages, CEFR. B1 level means that you are an independent user of English. Below, we describe the skills of a B1 level user of English, as described by the Common European Framework of Reference, and we explain what to practice to reach B1 level. 1. Understand the main points of clear standard input on familiar matters regularly encountered in work, school, leisure, etc. For B1 level, you should read and listen to English as much as you can. You can take English lessons, listen to English language songs, watch films and shows in English, read documents in English for your job, or search for articles and videos. All of these will help you to improve your reading and listening skills. Choose texts about things you already know. For example, read English language websites or tourist information about your country, or watch a show or film again that you've already watched, but this time with English audio or subtitles. Don't worry if you don't yet understand all of it. Focus on understanding the main points and note down new words to increase your vocabulary. Also, choose texts at the right level for you. On this channel, for example, do readings and listenings that are marked A2 or B1. Don't choose texts that you find too difficult, as you might feel frustrated. 2. Be able to deal with most situations likely to arise whilst traveling in an area where the language is spoken. If you have any opportunities to travel, take advantage. Use your English to do things like buying tickets, ordering food, shopping, and taking public transport. Even if you can't travel, there are still things you can do to improve your skills. Travel topics are usually included in English course books and learning materials, so use them to prepare for these situations. A good way to practice is to first learn useful words and phrases for a situation, and then do a role play. 3. Produce simple connected text on topics which are familiar or of personal interest. How often do you speak and write English? Try to do both regularly. For speaking practice, try to find some English speakers in your workplace, school, local area, or online, and talk to them about your interests, family, work, and so on. You can also try recording yourself speaking or posting a voice message in our Learning Hub. For writing practice, you might like to write a diary or blog, or write comments on the Learn English Facebook page or social media. For B1 level, you should speak and write more at length. Use words such as therefore, because, first of all, and on one hand, on the other hand, to connect one idea or sentence to another. 4. Describe experiences and events, dreams, hopes, and ambitions, and briefly give reasons and explanations for opinions and plans. This skill is about expressing your thoughts. Practice putting your thoughts into English. You can try talking about your past experiences. What memorable experiences have you had, either recently or a long time ago? You might need to check some vocabulary to talk about them, so use a dictionary or translator. Then think about what you can say and practice saying it until you can describe your experience smoothly and in detail. This is also good for your vocabulary. It's usually easier to learn vocabulary when it is personally meaningful. Try talking about the future, too. What do you plan to do this week, this year, or in 5 years' time? Do you have any hopes or dreams? Put these into words. If you don't know what your future plans are, it's fine. You can still talk about different options that you are thinking about. You can also say why you plan to do things. As suggested above, keeping a diary or blog and having regular English conversations are good ways to practice these skills. Good luck on your way to B1. Discussion. Which tip do you think is most useful, and why? An easy way to work out how to pronounce new words. If you see a word for the first time, how can you work out its pronunciation? Here is a simple 5-step method. Imagine you're in a speaking exam. You have a text to read, and it's all about pharmaceuticals. You already know that this means drugs used in medicine, but you aren't sure how to pronounce this word. You will need to talk about it soon with the examiner. What do? Or imagine that you work as a hotel receptionist. A guest arrives and gives you his passport. You open it and see his name, Marek Lewandowski. You need to say, "Good morning, Mr." But you're not sure how to pronounce his name. What do? In situations like these, you probably can't avoid saying those unfamiliar words. You may not be able to check them online either, so you need to have some way to work out the pronunciation. Here is a simple 5-step method. It can't guarantee that you will get the pronunciation fully accurate every time, but it will help you to get very close. Step 1. Find the vowels. Start by looking for vowels in the new words. Vowels are represented by the letters A, E, I, O, U, and Y. Pharmaceuticals, Marek Lewandowski. Step 2. Divide the word into syllables. A syllable is a group of letters making a sound together. For example, the word universe has 3 syllables, universe. Every syllable contains 1 vowel sound, so divide the word into syllables with 1 vowel in each. As well as vowels, each syllable can have 1 or more consonants before and or after the vowel. We can divide the hotel guest's name like this: Marek, 2 syllables; Lewandowski, 4 syllables. If you're not sure how to divide the word, for example, whether it should be Marek or Marek, just make your best guess. Sometimes 2 vowels combine to make a sound together, such as AE in rain and I in believe. Don't divide these. So in the speaking exam we can say pharmaceuticals, 5 syllables, the 2 vowels in EU make 1 sound together. If you're not sure whether 2 vowels should be separated or divided, look to other words that you know for clues. If you know that the vowels EU in Europe make 1 sound together, you can suppose the same thing in the 3rd syllable of pharmaceuticals. Also, be aware that many English words such as universe and believe have a silent E at the end. Since this E is silent, don't count it as a syllable. Step 3. Pronounce each syllable. Say the syllables one by one. Far, ma, cu, t, cals. Even if you don't know how to say the whole word, you probably have some general knowledge of pronunciation that you can use. In the word pharmaceuticals, you may already know that PH in English has a F sound and that the letter C can have a S sound, often before the letter I or E, or a K sound. Also, if you know the word pharmacy, you already know how to say the first half of pharmaceuticals. Step 4. Work out where to put the stress. For words with more than one syllable, think about which syllable to stress. It's useful to consider any similar words that you know. If you already know how to say practical, historical, economical, or optical, the stress is marked in bold. You may realize that for words ending in ical, the stress normally falls on the syllable before ical, i.e., the third to last syllable in the word. This helps us to work out the stress position in pharmaceuticals too. Pharmaceuticals. Stress on the third to last syllable. If you don't know any similar words, take your best guess based on what sounds good. Marek Lewandowski. Step 5. Say the whole word smoothly, with stress. Pharmaceuticals. Marek Lewandowski. If you followed all 5 steps, you have made a pretty good attempt at pronouncing these new words. Spelling doesn't represent pronunciation perfectly, so we still can't know the pronunciation for sure. However, these 5 steps will help you to make a very good guess. Discussion. Do you find English pronunciation easy or difficult? Why? 10 things you should know about a word. Here are 10 things you should know about a word to be able to understand and use it well. All language skills depend on vocabulary, and proficient users of English have a vocabulary of many thousands of words. Every word has its own characteristics, including style, grammar patterns, and relationships with other words. Below, we take the example word incredible and show you 10 useful things to know about it. 1. What does the word mean? Incredible literally means hard or impossible to believe, e.g., it's incredible that nobody spotted the mistake, but it has another meaning of extraordinary or impressive, e.g., the show was incredible, and this meaning is actually more common. 2. Does the word have any connotations? Connotations are extra meanings or feelings that the word suggests, added to its basic meaning. The extraordinary or impressive meaning of incredible has a positive connotation. If somebody describes something as incredible, they are often expressing praise or appreciation. 3. How is it similar to or different from other words? Synonyms are words with similar meanings. Incredible has several synonyms, but some of them have differences in meaning. Unbelievable means the same as incredible. Not credible means hard or impossible to believe, but it doesn't have the extraordinary or impressive meaning. It usually describes people and their words, e.g., his explanation was not credible, and not credible is preferred over incredible for this meaning. Amazing also means extraordinary or impressive, but it has a stronger connotation of wonder or admiration than incredible does. Antonyms are words with opposite meanings. Incredible has the antonym credible, but only for its hard or impossible to believe meaning. 4. Does the word belong to a particular style? Some common styles are global varieties of English, e.g., American English, old-fashioned style, formal, informal, or neutral style, technical or specialized language, spoken language and written language, politeness and impoliteness. Saying incredible to mean good or impressive is somewhat informal in style. It's more common in speaking than in writing. 5. How frequently used is it? Incredible is used moderately frequently in speaking. It's more frequent than unbelievable, but less frequent than amazing. 6. How do you spell and pronounce it? Incredible has 10 letters and fairly regular spelling. In pronunciation, it has 4 syllables, incredible, and the second syllable is stressed. 7. What word class is it? The word class is the word's grammatical category, noun, verb, adjective, etc. Incredible is an adjective. It's a non-gradable, extreme adjective, which means you can describe something as absolutely incredible, but not very incredible, or completely incredible. 8. Does it contain prefixes or suffixes? Prefixes are meaningful parts added at the front of words, while suffixes are added at the end. Incredible has an in prefix, meaning not, e.g., invisible, inactive. It also has the suffix able, which means able to be, e.g., visible, convertible. 9. Which other words are in the same word family? A word family is a set of words all made from the same base word. Here are some words in the incredible word family. Although the noun credibility exists, the noun incredibility is listed in some but not all dictionaries, so it might not be generally accepted. 10. What collocations does the word have? Collocations are words that go together to make common phrases. Here are some collocations with incredible. Quite incredible, e.g., the singer's rise in popularity has been quite incredible. The most incredible plus noun, e.g., when I saw my son for the first time, it was the most incredible feeling. Subject plus found it incredible that, e.g., I found it incredible that nobody complained about the food. It was incredible to hear, e.g., it was incredible to see the band play live. Where can I find the answers to these questions? For all the information above, check dictionaries. A good dictionary will provide explanations of meanings, style notes, pronunciation symbols, or audio, example sentences, and collocations. Since different dictionaries include different information, it's worth checking several dictionaries, not just one. However, you will gain much of your word knowledge simply by seeing words repeatedly over time and in different contexts. While you are reading and listening, note down things that you learn about their meaning, usage, style, and grammatical characteristics, as well as any good example sentences. Discussion. What do you do to learn vocabulary? Have you learned anything new about the word incredible? How to prepare for a job interview in English? Do you have a job interview in English coming up soon? These tips will help you to get ready and impress your potential employer. If you've been invited to a job interview, it's a good sign. It means the company thinks you have potential and they want to know more about you. Interviewers can sometimes ask unpredictable questions, but you can increase your chance of success by preparing well. Here's how. Study the job description. The job description says what skills, experience, and personal characteristics the company needs. Think of examples of your past work that demonstrate your strengths in these areas. You may have other skills too, but focus on those mentioned in the job description. Anticipate questions and prepare answers. Here are some common questions to prepare for. Why do you want this job? What can you bring to this role? Why did you leave your last job? Where do you see yourself in 5 years' time? What are your strengths and weaknesses? What challenges could you face in this job? Your answers will be more persuasive if you include real examples of your work. For instance, Q. What can you bring to this role? A. Good time management. It's one of my strengths. In my last role, I organized our office relocation, which was a huge project involving over 100 staff in only 3 months. I delegated work within my team to save time. I set deadlines for completion of the project stages, and I monitored progress regularly. Because of this, the relocation was completed on time and on budget. I feel confident I can bring these skills into this role. Some questions may ask you to talk about weaknesses, failures, or challenges. Nevertheless, be optimistic. For example, if you have to talk about a failure you experienced, you can also say what you learned from it or how you avoid repeating it. Look at your CV and guess what interviewers will want to know. For instance, if you have any gaps between jobs, they may ask what you did during that time. Research the company. Find out as much as you can. Check the company's website, LinkedIn, and social media, and ask your friends and colleagues. You can use this information in the interview. If you know about the company's current activities, for example, you can say which ones you are keen to be involved in. It will show your interest in the job. Practice English. Here are some suggestions for vocabulary practice. Positive adjectives to describe you, e.g., determined, resilient, and your work, e.g., innovative, successful. Verbs to describe your achievements and actions, e.g., coordinate, direct, develop, create. Words to describe projects and goals, e.g., objective, success criteria, implementation. Words to describe professional development, e.g., training, qualifications. Technical terms in your field. Phrases for social interaction, e.g., nice to meet you, it's my pleasure. Also check the pronunciation of any technical terms, the company's name, and the interviewer's names. Practice speaking English aloud until you feel comfortable and confident. It's a good idea to do a practice interview. Ask a friend to ask you some questions, and practice responding in English. Prepare your own questions. You may have a chance to ask your interviewers some questions. This is a good way to show your interest, as well as to find out more about the job. Here are some suggestions. What do you think the challenges will be for this role? What's the next step in the recruitment process after this interview? When will you notify candidates about the outcome of the interview? Will there be any support for training and development in this role? Prepare the practicalities. Decide what clothes you will wear and get them looking smart. Pack in your bag anything that you need to bring, such as your ID card or certificates. Take a bottle of water, too. Arriving late makes a bad impression, so plan to arrive at the venue early. For online interviews, find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed. Turn on your device's camera and check that the picture is clear and the room lighting is not too bright or dark. Check that the microphone picks up your voice clearly too. Have a look around the interview platform, e.g. Zoom or Skype, and get familiar with the controls, how to mute, share screen, etc. Also, prepare any notes that you want to refer to. Good luck in your interview. Discussion. Are you good at job interviews? Have you had a job interview in English? Phrasal verbs. Why they're good to know and how to learn them. Have you ever wondered why phrasal verbs are so important? Read this article to find out more. Did you know that there are thousands of phrasal verbs in English? You probably already know more than you think. They're a really important part of the English language, so let's have a look at them in more detail. What exactly is a phrasal verb? A phrasal verb is made up of a verb, usually a very common one, like make, and a particle, like up. Some phrasal verbs have two particles, for example, put up with. The particle usually changes the meaning of the verb. What are the challenges with phrasal verbs? Phrasal verbs look easy. After all, they're just a common verb followed by another little word. Often people don't even realize they need special attention. So what do you need to know about them? Here are some of the challenges. The meaning is often impossible to guess from the individual words. There are some that you can work out by knowing the meaning of the verb and the particle, for example, take away, but others that you can't. For example, take after, meaning to be similar in appearance or character. She takes after her dad. The same verb can be followed by many different particles, each giving a different meaning. For example, come up with, come across, come about. The verb come is used in at least 35 phrasal verbs. Each phrasal verb can have various meanings depending on context. For example, take off can mean remove clothing, please take your shoes off, to suddenly become successful, the new product really took off, or to leave the ground, the aeroplane took off. Phrasal verbs have a bit of grammar to learn with them. Sometimes you can separate the verb and particle, call the meeting off, and sometimes you can't, look after the cat. Go to our grammar section to learn more about the grammar of phrasal verbs. So those are the main challenges of phrasal verbs, and understanding those challenges really helps you learn and use these super useful phrases. Are phrasal verbs worth the effort? Phrasal verbs are definitely worth learning. Here are just a few of the reasons why. First, they're used very commonly in conversations, so knowing phrasal verbs will help you understand other people. Second, As there are so many phrasal verbs, knowing them is a great way to build up your vocabulary. And third, they're used a lot in informal English, so using them will help you sound natural, relaxed, and friendly. What's the best way to learn phrasal verbs? As we've said, there are thousands of phrasal verbs in English, so don't even think about sitting down and trying to learn a list of all of them. The best way to learn phrasal verbs is to see them in context. Try to notice phrasal verbs when you're reading, listening to a song, watching a video, or talking to someone. This will help you understand the meaning, get a feel for how to use them, and remember them better. Whenever you come across a new phrasal verb, make a note of it. A good online dictionary will give you the meaning and show you how to use it in a sentence. There are several ways to organize your phrasal verbs in your notebook and in your mind. You may want to have the verbs as your starting point. For example, you could make a page for phrasal verbs with come, and then as you come across a new one, add it to that page. Be sure to include your own phrase or sentence when you note down a new phrasal verb. This will make it more memorable and help you remember how it's used in a sentence. A really helpful way to learn phrasal verbs is to group verbs whose particles have the same or similar meaning. For example, back often includes the idea of return, call back, go back, pay back, and up often shows completeness, clean up, eat up, use up. Another good idea is to group your phrasal verbs by topic. For example, you could group phrasal verbs that are commonly used for daily routine, or work, or sport. You could write a short text on that topic that includes as many phrasal verbs as you can. For instance, my alarm goes off at 6:45 a.m. I usually feel sleepy and find it hard to get up, but my morning coffee soon wakes me up. If a phrasal verb doesn't seem to fit into a particular topic, you could note down where you first saw or heard it. Personalizing them will make them meaningful and memorable. Finally, as with all new grammar and vocabulary, try to use the new phrasal verbs you learn when you're talking and writing. This will help fix them in your long-term memory. However you decide to learn phrasal verbs, gradually building up your bank of personalized phrasal verbs is sure to pay off. They'll help you understand everyday speech and create closer relationships with people, and you'll enjoy using them. By the way, did you notice the 17 phrasal verbs in this article? Why not make a note of them and see if you can add them to your vocabulary? Discussion. Did you find the article useful? Can you write a short text using phrasal verbs? How to be a confident learner. In this article, you'll learn how to boost your confidence while you study English. The word confidence comes from Latin or French and literally means full trust in yourself. But confidence can be reduced by disappointing exam results, making mistakes, feeling as if you're not progressing, and many other things. Boosting your confidence will help you to get the best possible results and enjoy your learning too. Here are some tips. How to be a confident speaker. If you've ever kept quiet because you didn't feel confident speaking English, this article is for you. Confidence helps you to speak English well and to enjoy speaking. If your confidence is low, here are 5 things you can do to boost it. 1. Speak up. Unconfident speakers often finish speaking as soon as they can or avoid speaking, but that can reduce your confidence even more. It's hard to build confidence if you rarely or never speak. So, break this cycle. Try to be bold and speak up. Answering questions in class, talking to your classmates or other English speakers, and joining a language exchange are all good opportunities for you to speak. Confident speakers trust in their own abilities because they have spoken many times before. Build up your own speaking experience in this way by taking more opportunities. 2. Prepare well. A big cause of low confidence is feeling unprepared. If you aren't ready to speak, it's normal to feel unconfident. So before speaking, get yourself ready. Before a presentation, prepare what you want to say and practice until you can say it smoothly. Before class, find out what the next speaking activity will be and prepare some words and ideas to use. Before social interactions, prepare a few things to talk about, like the weather or recent news. 3. Change the way you think about failure. Failure is part of learning. It happens to everybody. But what's important is what happens next. Imagine you pronounce a word incorrectly. You try to express your ideas but can't say them clearly. You forget your words during a presentation. Your speaking test mark is lower than you expected. How do you react? For unconfident speakers, these just confirm that you aren't good at speaking and make you want to avoid it. As a famous cartoon character said, "You tried your best and you failed miserably. The lesson is, never try." Homer Simpson in The Simpsons. But don't take Homer's advice. Confident speakers don't quit. Although they feel disappointed, they know these mistakes are valuable because mistakes show where they can improve. Confident speakers know that learning a language is a long-term activity, so they don't give too much importance to one single short-term failure. 4. Practice positive self-talk. We are our own worst critics. We notice all our own little mistakes, even if other people don't. We say to ourselves things like, "I'm bad at speaking English." But this is just an automatic thought. You needn't accept it. Interrupt this negative self-talk by questioning it. Is it really true? Or have you forgotten what your strengths and achievements are? Is it based on solid evidence, or just your emotions and worries? Is there any evidence saying the opposite, e.g. your past achievements or positive comments from teachers? Negative self-talk is damaging to confidence. Positive self-talk is more encouraging. You can say things like, "I'm not good at speaking English yet," or "I'm working hard and getting better." 5. Don't compare yourself with others. If you feel inspired by people around you, that's good. But if you think they're all better than me, it will harm your confidence. Don't try to be the best. Just try to be better than you were yesterday. Set your own standards for your English learning. This will make you feel more confident and in control. Discussion. What things boost your confidence as an English speaker? What things harm it? 1. Schedule your study time. Do you study regularly? Unconfident students often don't. They may study only when they're in the right mood, leave it until the last minute, or get busy with other things and end up not studying at all. But lack of regular study may weaken your confidence further. Break this cycle by making a schedule. Decide what day and time you will study and for how long. Mark it in your calendar so that your time is reserved. It's better to study regularly, e.g., a little every day, than intensively, e.g., all day once a week. 2. Remember your purpose. There are many reasons why people learn English. What's yours? If you're unsure, take time to identify it. Unconfident learners sometimes feel lost or directionless. To boost your confidence, remind yourself why you are learning English. This will give you a sense of purpose and of going in the right direction. Set goals. Unconfident learners might have vague goals such as to improve their English generally, or they may not have thought about a goal at all. Set goals for yourself. The more specific, the better. Perhaps you aim to understand songs in English, or to achieve a particular IELTS score, for example. Your goal should be challenging, but doable. Break it down into smaller goals for day-to-day study sessions. For example, today, I'll listen to my favorite song and check the vocabulary in it. Today, I'll do an IELTS writing practice test. When you complete your daily goal, give yourself a small reward. Soon, you'll gain confidence as your completed goals move you closer to achieving your overall goal. Record your successes. If you look back in your life, you've probably overcome many obstacles and achieved many goals already. You have certainly achieved a lot in your English learning to be capable of reading this article. Don't let these successes be forgotten. Recording and remembering success is a big confidence booster. Here are some ways to do it. Write your goals down. Tick them when you achieve them. As well as a to-do list, keep a done list. Make a folder on your computer for your certificates, best work, and nice comments you receive. Start a private Padlet or Instagram to store images of your completed work. Write a journal and reflect on your progress. Whichever way you choose, review your achievements from time to time. After just a few days, you'll see evidence of your ability to achieve. 5. Deal with fear of failure. Fear of failure is a major cause of low confidence. However, there's another way to look at failure. FAIL, rather first attempt. In learning, nobody learns without making mistakes, but mistakes actually provide useful information about what you can improve. They help you to get it right next time, so let your mistakes come out in lessons or exercises. Once you know about them, you can correct them. You won't repeat them in your exam or interview when it matters more. Don't fear mistakes. Lessons, exercises, and classrooms all exist for the purpose of trying, making mistakes, and learning. Good luck in your studies. Discussion. What's your reason for learning English? Do you feel confident that you can achieve your goals? How can I improve my English pronunciation? Try these simple and effective activities to improve your pronunciation. Pronunciation is really important for communication and making sure people understand your message. Pronunciation is also helpful for your listening skills. When you know what words sound like in a sentence, you'll understand much more of what you hear. So, how can you improve your pronunciation? Here are some ideas. 1. Listen and write. Take a short clip from a song, film, show, or audio file. Write down the words that you hear and replay it until you have got them all. Play it at 0.75x or 0.5x speed if you need to. Then compare your version with the lyrics, transcript, or subtitles. Did you get it exactly? Note any differences. This really helps you to focus on particular pronunciation features. Finally, say the words yourself, copying the same sounds that you heard. Repeat the practice until you can pronounce the sounds smoothly and comfortably. 2. Speak and check. This is the reverse of the previous tip. Now, you say the words and let a dictation app or website write down what you say. If it writes down what you said correctly, you must have pronounced it well. But if it doesn't, check those misunderstood words because you might not have pronounced them clearly. Note, however, that dictation programs do sometimes make mistakes. For this tip, you'll need a dictation app or website. Many phones have voice dictation functions. You can also use websites such as https://dictation.io/ Make sure you set the language to English. 3. Record yourself. Prepare a few sentences and record yourself saying them using your phone. Then listen to the recording. Are you satisfied with your pronunciation? Were any sounds unclear? Was it too fast or slow? You can also try saying the sentences that you listened to for tip 1 and compare your recording with the original. Many people dislike listening to their own voice. But if you can get past this reaction, it's a good way to identify things to improve in your pronunciation. 4. Learn pronunciation symbols. Did you know that English has 26 letters but over 40 different sounds? We use special symbols to show pronunciation. For example, the word enough is INF. This helps us see that the first sound of enough is actually an I sound, not an E sound, even it's spelled with E. It's worth learning these symbols because then you can identify individual sounds more precisely. Learning the symbols takes a little work, but it's not too hard. In fact, many are obvious. You can probably guess what sounds N and F represent. Most dictionaries use these symbols. You can also see and hear all of the symbols in the Sounds Right app. 5. Focus on confusing sounds. We suggest focusing on sounds that can cause confusion for listeners if they are pronounced incorrectly. Here are some examples. Long and short vowels, e.g., I want to leave here, long, I, sound, versus I want to live here, short, I, sound. R and L, e.g., can you correct the file? Versus can you collect the file? Consonant clusters, e.g. clothes. Some people say it like close or closes. When you practice English, make a note of any confusions like these and practice pronouncing them clearly. Now you've read our advice on improving your pronunciation, go and try out some of the ideas. Good luck. Discussion. Which of the tips have you tried? Did they help you to improve your pronunciation? 6 tips for speaking English internationally. Do you need English to communicate in an international environment? Here are 6 tips to connect with people successfully when English is your common language. English is spoken by over 2 billion people worldwide. That's 1 in 4 people. It's the language of business and tourism, and the language people use to work together, share knowledge, and understand different cultures. As the most spoken language worldwide, English is an incredible tool to help you connect with other people. But even when you speak the same language, international communication isn't easy. Different accents, language levels, and cultural references can make communication very challenging. In fact, it's possible to speak the same language and not understand what's being said at all. Here are 6 tips to improve communication when speaking English in an international context. 1. Think communication. This is really obvious, but really worth remembering. Sometimes we're so busy worrying about our language skills that we forget the goal is communication. Imagine someone says something you don't understand in a course you're studying in English. Do you interrupt politely to ask for clarification? Or do you say nothing, thinking that everyone else must understand? The problem with staying quiet is it stops communication, and you're probably not the only person who hasn't fully understood. Whatever your language level, you have every right to ask questions, check you've understood, and participate. In fact, it makes you a good communicator. So, go for it. Good communication is often about attitude, not your English level. 2. Check understanding. Checking understanding isn't just the responsibility of the listener. When you're talking, try to build in opportunities to check people have understood you. You could say, "Do you know what I mean?" to check your main point. "Are you following me?" during a longer explanation. "Is this clear? Am I being clear?" especially for instructions. What do you think? To see if people have the same opinion as you, open questions that require longer answers rather than yes or no questions really help check there are no misunderstandings. 3. Keep it simple. Remember that not everyone's English is as good as yours, and even excellent English speakers might not know certain expressions. That's why simpler is always better for good communication. Be kind to your listener and speak simply, slowly, and clearly. Try to choose common vocabulary and avoid idiomatic phrases like, "You dodged a bullet," "You avoided a bad situation." These kinds of phrases are confusing if you don't already know the meaning. Look for alternatives to business jargon, too. For example, "in the future" is easier to understand than the expression "going forward." It's also helpful to say abbreviations like ETA, estimated time of arrival, in full, unless you're sure people are familiar with them. 4. Repeat things. People are worse at remembering things than you might think, especially if they only hear them once. That's why repetition can be really important. A good way to repeat things is to paraphrase an expression, that is, to say it in different words. For example, you might say, "The project deadline has been extended by a fortnight." In other words, we now have 2 extra weeks to finish the project. Notice the useful expressions "that is" and "in other words," which can be used to introduce repetition in different words. Repeating key information like this helps people remember things, and it also gives them a better chance of understanding them. 5. Aim for intelligibility. Everyone has an accent when they speak English. Your accent might say something about where you're from, the places you've lived and worked, or where you learned English. And that's a beautiful thing. Apart from being an adorable part of who you are, your accent doesn't matter. What does matter is that people understand you. That means you need correct pronunciation, or, at least, correct enough pronunciation for people to easily recognize the words you're saying. Being understandable is called intelligibility. And intelligibility, not accent, is the big one to work on. 6. Work on your pronunciation. It's a double win. So, when you work on your pronunciation, you improve your intelligibility, and that makes you a better communicator. But that's not all. When you improve your pronunciation, you also improve your understanding when listening. That's because you're aware of how words and phrases sound, so you recognize them more easily when you hear them. Here are a few things you can do to improve pronunciation that have big positive effects on both intelligibility and listening skills. When you learn a new word, make sure you know the pronunciation. Make a note of individual sounds and word stress when writing down new vocabulary and phrases. Be aware of connected speech, how the end sound of one word can affect the beginning sound of the next word. For example, the phrase law and order can sound like a person called Laura Norder. Notice that we stress the words in a sentence which are most important for meaning. Having good pronunciation is amazing for both being understood and understanding. It's a double win for your communication skills. So, there you have it. 6 tips for speaking English internationally. 1. Think communication. 2. Check understanding. 3. Keep it simple. 4. Repeat yourself. 5. Aim for intelligibility. 6. Improve your pronunciation. Discussion. Do you need to communicate in an international environment? Which of the tips did you find useful? How to prepare for speaking exams. Are you taking a speaking exam soon? Read these tips that will help you to get a great score. Here's our advice about how to practice, what to do on exam day, how to prepare for online exams, and more. 1. Learn all about the exam. Find out as much information as you can. How many questions are there? How long is it? Is there any planning time? Do you speak alone or with a partner? It's important to know the exam format so that you can practice speaking in the same way. Understanding the marking criteria is also important. The criteria are what the examiners want you to demonstrate and what they will reward with high marks. Different exams have different criteria, but common ones include task completion, grammar and vocabulary, organization, pronunciation. 2. Search for examples. Search online for videos of the exam. These will help you to understand what happens in the exam. You can also learn from what other candidates did well or not so well in the videos. Search for exam papers too. Many exams have sets of practice papers and answers that you can download. 3. What and how to practice. To get ready for the exam, speak English as much as you can. Make a big effort to speak in class, with other candidates, or whenever you have an opportunity to speak. Practice answering questions similar to the exam questions and do at least one full test from start to finish. Recording yourself and listening back to it may help you to find ways to improve. Prepare some answers about common topics such as work or travel, but don't plan to give a memorized answer in the exam. The questions probably won't be exactly the same as the ones you've practiced, so be ready to adapt your answers. Memorized answers also sound unnatural, and the examiners might give higher marks to natural speech. 4. What to do on exam day. Before the exam, warm up your English by speaking to someone or to yourself. Arrive at the exam center early. Make sure you won't be hungry or thirsty. Mute your phone. Most people feel nervous before exams, so take some deep breaths to calm yourself down and focus your mind on the task ahead. 5. How to prepare for an online exam. If you are taking the exam at home, find a quiet place and ask people not to disturb you. Check your device, microphone, and earphones all work okay. Practice making eye contact with the camera on your device while speaking. Ask a friend to act as an examiner and do a practice exam together via video call. If possible, ask your friend to record the video call so that you can watch it and see and hear how the examiner will see and hear you. 6. After the exam, well done for completing the exam. We hope you got a great mark, but if not, don't worry. After gaining the experience of the first exam, people often do better the second time around. After your exam, take some time to reflect. What questions were you asked? What did you do well? What could have been better? Note down all your thoughts, as they will help you to do even better in your next exam, whenever that may be. Good luck to you all. Discussion. Are you taking a speaking exam soon? What helps you to do well in speaking exams? How to use the Learn English grammar section. If you'd like to communicate effectively, we've got 2 useful resources to help you improve your English grammar. The English Grammar Reference. Think of the English Grammar Reference as a summary of all the most essential points of English grammar. It's similar to a grammar reference book. The pages offer clear and concise presentations, and each page has exercises for you to check your understanding. A few things to keep in mind. The grammar reference covers all the essential English grammar you need to communicate in most situations, but it doesn't cover every single grammar point. The grammar reference is organized by parts of speech, like an encyclopedia, not as a grammar lesson. This means it's probably not a good idea to read it from beginning to end. Instead, look for a grammar point you'd like to know more about. If you have a question that isn't answered in the grammar explanation, read through the comments at the bottom of the page. Someone may have already asked your question, and you can read our expert team's answer. The comments contain lots of really useful information. The grammar pages. In an English class, teachers carefully choose the grammar to teach in their lessons and give their students explanations and opportunities to practice using the grammar. The A1 to A2, B1 to B2, and C1 grammar pages are written like mini English lessons. 1. Test. Do an exercise to see how much you know already. Don't skip this. 2. Teach. Read an explanation of the grammar point. Third test. Do another exercise to check your understanding of the grammar. Just like the grammar reference, there's a lot of useful information in the comments that other learners and our expert team have written in responses. Read the comments to look for answers to your own questions and to learn more. How to make the most of the Learn English Learning Hub. Are you looking for ways to improve your English skills? In the Learning Hub, you can practice and improve your English as you communicate with speakers from all over the world. What is the Learning Hub? The Learning Hub on the 24/7 English channel is your space to put your English into practice. The idea is to practice and improve your English by communicating with other people. Each topic has a series of steps designed by our team to help you share your thoughts, ideas, and personal experiences with learners all around the world. You can write comments, record yourself speaking, and share photos with descriptions. We add new content about different topics twice a month. You'll get to know our team of expert educators too, as we appear in the videos to guide you through. What are the benefits? If you want to develop your communication skills in English, the best way to do that is to practice using them. The Learning Hub gives you lots of opportunities to do just that. You will improve your speaking, writing, and conversation skills as you participate in the activities. In the Learning Hub, there are no right and wrong answers, and we don't correct people's English. It's a place to activate and develop the English, by using it for real communication. Another thing people love about the Learning Hub is the friendly atmosphere. Being part of an international community of English speakers can be really motivating and enjoyable. Research also shows that language learners remember new phrases better when they need them for communication. So, get out there. We hope you have fun doing the tasks, chatting to other people, and making your English learning memorable. How do I join in? To leave comments and participate in the activities in the Learning Hub, you need to register for a free account. When you register, you can choose if you want to receive a free monthly newsletter with learning tips, advice, and special offers. Once you have an account, you can take part in the activities and practice your English skills by writing and recording comments. For some tasks, you can also share a photo if you want to. Our short videos show the Learn English team talking about the topic and doing the tasks themselves. We hope you find these enjoyable for authentic listening practice and useful for giving you ideas and new language for each task. How can I make the most of the Learning Hub? The best way to learn from the Learning Hub is to read all the great comments and then reply to some other learners. People love it when you reply to their comments, and it's great practice for your English. So be nice, be interested, and help create a positive learning atmosphere. If you're not already there, what are you waiting for? We're looking forward to seeing you in the Learning Hub. The power of music. How to learn English with songs. Do you like listening to songs in English? Here's a step-by-step guide to help you learn English with songs. Music is everywhere. It can make you feel many different emotions and bring you happiness, energy, or calm. It can reduce anxiety and depression. It can inspire you and capture your imagination. Music is incredibly powerful, and it can also be an incredibly useful tool for learning English. Music and memory. You probably know that the words of a song are called lyrics. Some song lyrics are quite basic. She loves you, yeah, 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 while others are deep, emotional, and thought-provoking. Think of the lyrics of one of your favorite songs. They're not difficult to remember, are they? Studies show that music not only helps us remember old memories, it also helps us to create new ones. This is great news for learners of English. Music will help you remember words and phrases that you already know, and help you learn new vocabulary and expressions. A step-by-step guide to learning English with songs. 1. Choose a song that's in English. It can be any song at all. A song that you like, that you've listened to several times before. Have you found it? Great. Now, 2. Listen to the song. Do you understand all of the lyrics? Probably not, but don't worry. People hardly ever understand every word of a song the first time they hear it. The words have to fit the rhythm of the music, so they are often difficult to understand. 3. Read the lyrics. Find the lyrics online. Many music streaming services have a setting where you can listen and read the lyrics at the same time. Listen to the song again while you read. Now it starts to make a bit more sense. Make a note of new or interesting words and phrases. You don't have to look up every single word in the dictionary. Try to learn 5 to 10 new words per song. Notice pronunciation. You may notice some strange-looking words. Some words in songs are written as they are pronounced. Wanna, for example, is an informal spelling of want to. What about gonna and gimme? What are these informal spellings of? As you listen, notice how phrases are pronounced. This really helps you understand people when they're talking fast. 5. Listen again and join in. As you listen, start to join in with the easier parts. Sing as quietly or as loudly as you want. The chorus, the part of the song that is repeated several times, will probably be what you can sing along to first. 6. Sing along. Listen to the song a few more times, and each time join in with a little bit more. By now, the song is really in your head. You're really feeling the rhythm of the music and the lyrics. Tomorrow, next week, or whenever you feel like learning a new song, do the same thing again. But don't forget to come back to the old songs, especially your favorites. So, whatever type of music you're into, learning English with songs will help you improve your listening and speaking skills, vocabulary, and pronunciation. It'll teach you words and phrases that you would never learn in the classroom. And most importantly, it'll make learning English really enjoyable and fun. Happy listening. Discussion. What are your favorite English songs?